Okay, we started last week, Parak Ches. On the top is page Lamed Hey. At the bottom, it's page 122. We're going to start in the middle of the page. Now, a lot of this I mentioned last week outside, as they say in yeshiva, orally. And now we're going to see it inside. Okay? The last thing in the beginning of Parak, again, these chapters 26, 27, 28 are antidepressant medicine. Now, the Rebbe speaks the whole thing. What happens if your worries are from bad things that happen? You should realize these are very lofty, great things happening to you. If you have a bad sadness from spirituality in the middle of business, realize it's not the place for it. If it comes some evil thoughts, he said, get rid of them. In Parak Ches, he says, what happens when foreign thoughts come to you in the middle of davening, okay, or middle of learning? He says, don't be a fool. You know, this we learned inside last week. Don't be a fool to think that you can elevate them, because only a tzaddik can do that. And if you have these evil thoughts, you're far from a tzaddik, how in the world do you think you can elevate them? All you're doing is messing yourself up. So he says, okay, now we're going to see inside what we discussed at great length last week, why you shouldn't be getting depressed. So he says like this, a person, nevertheless, his heart should not fall, meaning he shouldn't take it to heart, that you should be sad and depressed at the time of davening. Because then, the time of davening, you need to be besimcha. Irdos Hashem besimcha. Ela adrab. He says, when these evil thoughts, or foreign thoughts rather, come to you in the middle of davening or learning, he says, on the contrary, you should strengthen yourself even more. So like this. Adrab. Yischazik Yosef, you should become stronger. The Yosef aims into act strength. B'chol keichi, with all his power. B'kavanas hatfila, in the intent of davening. B'chedva v'simcha yesera, with a greater joy than normal. When these thoughts come into your mind, Al Rebbe says during davening, it should cause you to have more simcha. Why should it cause you to have more simcha? He says like this. The sum alibe simply means when you put to your heart, meaning when you realize in the feelings the falling in, the fact that you're getting these foreign thoughts. You should know it's not coming from anything holy. It's coming from the evil side that wants to disturb your davening. It's coming from the left side, which is the Yetzer Hara, that's doing battle with the Beinani, with the godly soul. Okay? So he's saying like this, when these foreign thoughts come in the middle of davening, not only should you not get depressed, you should be happy. Why should you be happy? He says like this. The night it's known, people that fight, or people that also fight is when they wrestle with each other. When one side gets stronger, when side one gets stronger, so then side two needs to get stronger. With all the ability of his power. If you're fighting somebody physically, you're wrestling somebody. So when they get stronger, you need to get stronger. He says like this. Now let's understand what's going on by davening. He says like this. What happens in the time of davening? In the time of davening, the godly soul, the nefesh olekis, wakes up. It's serving Hashem. And it's strengthening itself. It's becoming stronger than it is during the day because you're meditating in godliness, you're davening, you're learning, the nefesh olekis gets stronger. So what does the other side do? Therefore, azai gama klipa miskaberes connected. Then the evil side gets stronger. The valvola to confuse it, ula apil and to make it fall down. But machshava zara shalai in the foreign thought. The Alter Rebbe said, let's analyze this situation. There's a battle going on in the body. It's between the godly soul and the animal soul. Okay, there's a battle. The Alter Rebbe explained the whole time in Perek Test. The body is a city. There are two kings trying to conquer it. There's a battle between Nefesh Elikis and Nefesh Habamis, godly soul and animal soul. So when the godly soul gets stronger, what happens? Then the animal soul gets stronger. The animal soul gets stronger. He said, not like the mistake of the world, that they make a mistake to prove from the descent of the foreign thoughts. What do they think? That the davening is worthless. That's what they think. What are they thinking? That the davening is worthless, because if I would be davening well, then that wouldn't come. And they think that the davening is worthless. Why? Because if a person would be davening koroi, if a person would be davening properly, what would be? Then they say the evil thoughts are not going to come into me. They're not going to affect me. In other words, the world makes a mistake. And the world thinks that the fact that the thoughts are coming into your head, that itself is a proof that you're not davening properly. That's what the world makes a mistake. And he says, the elements are yikidivayim. They would be proven true when im hois and nefesh achas levada. I'm trying to find them. Somebody's really enjoying the class.
Somebody is enjoying.
Somebody's really enjoying the class.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, anyway, see, that's exactly what's going on. We're trying to learn.
Yeah.
And then what happens is we have a Yetzer Hara coming and trying to disturb the learning.
Exactly.
What we have to do, what Alter Rebbe says, what we need to do is to strengthen the learning. And he says the mistake that the world makes, the mistake that the world makes is that they think the fact that that the thoughts are coming into you shows that you're not davening properly. He says that's not true. He says, in the next page, they would be true if there would be only one soul, and he hamispalelas, which is the one soul that's davening. The meaning like this. What's their mistake? Their mistake is they think they have one soul. We have one soul. What is the soul? One soul that davens and one soul that has the evil thoughts. Therefore, if you're getting the foreign thoughts, that shows that you're not davening properly, because it's the same soul. The same soul cannot be doing opposite things. So they would be right if there would be one soul. That is the soul that's davening and the soul that's getting the foreign thoughts. Then if you get the foreign thoughts, it shows you're not davening properly. But he says, but truthfully, it's not true. It's not one soul, it's two souls. and these two souls are fighting with each other. So then the fact that the godly soul is stronger, that itself is why the animal soul is stronger. So the Alter Rebbe is saying you have a remarkable concept. The fact that you're getting the evil thoughts, not only does it show you're not davening properly, it shows that you're davening super well. Because if the godly soul wouldn't be strong, then the animal soul wouldn't strengthen itself either. Why do you get these foreign thoughts only when you're davening? You don't get it when you're eating. Why don't you get it when you're eating? Because then the godly soul is not powerful. It's not davening. It's not learning. It's not connecting to Hashem openly. So therefore, the Nefesh Obama says, why should I waste my strength? The guy's sleeping anyway. Why should I fight if the Nefesh Elokis is not fighting? But during davening, the Nefesh Elokis is booming in its relationship with Hashem. So that's when the Nefesh Obama says, 1 minute, I can't let him win. So I have to go and dump evil thoughts into the mind, foreign thoughts into the mind. So the Rebbe said, why are you getting depressed? The fact that these thoughts are coming into you when you daven, that itself shows you davening well. Because if you wouldn't be davening well, the thoughts wouldn't come into you. He says, the two souls that are fighting one with the next in the mind of the person. Each one, its will and desire is to control it. That the mind, like you said before in the 9th chapter, each one wants to capture the body, the city. What does that mean? Each one wants that the body and the mind should do what it wants. Nefesh Abamis wants evil thoughts. Nefesh Elokis wants godly thoughts. So they're fighting. Therefore, the animal soul is where all the foreign thoughts come from. So all the thoughts of Torah and fear of Hashem comes from the godly soul. And all the worldly things comes from the Nefesh Abamis. And here Dr. Rebbe has 4 words which are very important to add. Dr. Rebbe says the animal soul is the source of all evil, and the godly soul is in it. In it? It is in the Nefesh Abamis. It dresses itself into the Nefesh Abamis. Because how do we physically live from the Nefesh Abamis? The physical life is from the animals, unless you're a tzaddik that kills your Yetzer Hara. The Nefesh Abamis, Dr. Rebbe said that before in Tanya. In Barak Aleph. Dr. Rebbe said the Nefesh Abamis is what gives life to the body. So how do you do Kedusha? The godly soul puts itself into the animal soul. And therefore it functions of Kedusha through the animal soul, because that's how we live, from the animal soul. Because l'chaira, if you think about it, why should the godly soul care about the animal soul? I mean, what's the connection? But the Rebbe adds, no, because the Nefesh Elokis functions through the Nefesh Abamis. Like I said, we have to understand, a person lives from the animal soul. That's what gives us life. You talk, it's the animal soul. You breathe, it's the animal soul. But when the godly soul permeates it, so then you're speaking Torah, you're eating Kedusha, you're doing mitzvahs, everything. So therefore, he says, bottom line is, the fact that you're getting these thoughts, Dr. Rebbe said, why are you getting depressed? People come, they say, I'm not davening well, I get this, I get all these foreign thoughts. Dr. Rabbi here says that's great. That is a clear proof that you're davening properly. If you wouldn't get foreign thoughts during davening, it means you're a tzaddik who has no Yetzer Hara. Because the Nefesh Abamis is active. Somebody once said they didn't want to get up in the morning. It was cold, it was cold to get out of a freezing bed, So somebody said to him, why don't you learn from the Yetzer Hara? Yetzer Hara gets up early in the winter. He's ready for his job. He doesn't stay in bed late, the Nefesh Habamis. He gets you right away going to do Avedas. So why should Nefesh Elokis go to stay sleeping? Wake up and go fight him. He's your enemy. He's fighting you. So therefore he says like this. What's the mashal of all this? The commercial Adam Mispalo B'Kavanah. And here is another thing you really have to, it's a remarkable thing now. It's very simple, but it's very profound. It's the analogy of a person who's davening b'kavanah. And opposite comes an anti-Semite idol worshiper. And he talks to him, and he hacks him a chainik, to mix him up. Now, gives an analogy. It's a Jew trying to daven. He's davening. And this anti-Semite who wants him to not daven. So what does he do? He comes over to you and he starts talking to you to try to confuse you, to try to stop you from davening. Okay? So what are you supposed to do? Al Rebbe said, what do you know what to do? You ignore him. Ignore him. And eventually he'll go away. He says, this is for sure. You don't answer him because then you're feeding him. What do? You make yourself like a cheresh, like a deaf mute. Not to listen to him. You ignore him. To fulfill what it says, Shema Malch says in the pasuk, "Altan ksil bivalte." Do not answer a fool according to his foolishness. Penti shavale, lest you become like a fool. Now the Rebbe doesn't say it here, but later on in Igerza Kodesh, the Rebbe adds a remarkable point over here. Let's analyze the situation. A Jew is davening. He's davening mincha, shachris, whatever. And a guy comes to disturb him. Okay? Now, let's analyze it from a proper Torah perspective. This guy has free choice? No. It's not what it is, Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Neach. He doesn't have free choice. The fact that the guy exists and he can move his mouth or his hands to disturb you, who gives him that power? Hashem. Who makes a person speak? Who makes a person be able to move his hands? Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe says later on, he gets a case. The Alter Rebbe says like this: think, Hashem is lowering himself into this anti-Semite who is disturbing your davening, which is Hashem is allowing him to do it because Hashem is dictating his existence. He exists because Hashem is giving him life power, and he's talking because Hashem allows him to talk. So he says, why in the world would the Hashem lower himself into a goyish anti-Semite to disturb a Jew from davening? Why would Hashem do that? Hashem wants us to daven. Hashem wants us to learn. So let us learn and daven, bug off. Why does Hashem do this to us? But not only that, Alter Rebbe says later, Hashem is giving power. That means he's lowering himself into this goyish anti-Semite, allowing him to move his hands to disturb you, allowing his existence to be there to disturb you, allowing him to talk to disturb you. For what reason? Why in Hashem should Hashem lower himself to that? You know why? Because Hashem wants you to daven better. It's all Hashem coming down into this body of the anti-Semite to allow you to daven even better, because now you have a challenge. You have a disruption. If you ignore the disruption, then you're going to be able to daven better. And that's the purpose of challenges, like we learned a million times. But just think about it. The Rebbe says this phenomenal point. The guy is disturbing your davening. That means Hashem is coming down into this guy, into Klippa, to allow him to disturb you. Why? Hashem wants you to daven better. Now, if you wouldn't be davening well at all, why should Hashem want to waste his time with you? You're not davening anyway. That's a sign, like Gal Rebbe says here, that's a sign you're davening well. And the fact that you're davening well, that's the proof of it is from the fact that the Yetzer Hara bothers you. So just like if a guy would be disturbing your davening, itself understood, what do? You ignore him and daven better. He says exactly the same thing when you get these foreign thoughts. Where are they coming from? They're coming from the Nefesh Habahamis, who is fighting with you that you shouldn't daven. And as long as you don't daven with strength, the Nefesh Habahamis doesn't waste his power either. You're davening strong, the Nefesh Habahamis gets strong. So what's the Eitzah? To be happy. The Jew should say to himself, look how lucky I am. Hashem entrusts me that I'm davening well, and he wants me to daven even better. And that's why he gives me these foreign thoughts. So instead of getting depressed that you're no good, Dr. Rebbe says just the opposite. This is proving that you're great. Why are you getting depressed? And not only are you great because you're davening well, you have the ability to conquer the challenge. You have the ability to overcome the challenges that are stopping you from davening or learning. And B'chlal, this is a very important concept in life. When a Jew has obstacles, okay, the obstacles, I'll tell you something. Sometimes it's family members that are not religious yet. Sometimes it could be society that gives you challenges. Sometimes it could be yourself, your Nefesh Habahamis. They're giving you challenge. They're making your life of Yiddishkeit hell. They're making it difficult. According to what we're just learning here, that means that you are doing mitzvahs well. And therefore Hashem, who's making all these family fighting you and friends fighting you and society fighting you and your Yetzer Hara fighting you? Who's allowing that to happen? Hashem is allowing that to happen. So a person needs to realize, according to what we're learning here, and the whole concept, purpose of Tanya and Chassidus is to bring it down into practical living. Anytime a person is faced with an obstacle in Torah mitzvahs, number one, that means they're doing a good job. If not, why would the obstacle get in your way? It's number one. Number two, Hashem is showing you that I am creating these challenges for you and against you to stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing. Why? Because you can even do better. And the only way you'll reach a greater level is when there are the obstacles. That's the only way you're going to get better. So a person should never get depressed. You have challenges from your family? Whoa, what a great thing that is. Hashem believes in me that I can overcome it. You have this challenge, that. The Yetzer Hara is coming to disturb you. Baruch Hashem, number one, it means I'm davening well. I'm doing mitzvahs well. I'm doing what I need to be doing well. If not, the Yetzer Hara wouldn't come about it, waste his time with it. And he says like this. Kachal Yosef Shum Yosef Uma, don't answer the Nefesh Habahamis anything. The Shum Taino Mina or any answer, whatever, or answer or a complaint. Neged HaMachshavah, don't even deal with it. Why? Now, the Rebbe says the famous expression, "Hamisavek im menuvel misnavel," because when you fight dirt, you get dirty. Why in the world should a person fight evil thoughts, foreign thoughts? All you're going to do is get dirty. You don't fight dirt. What do you do with dirt? You ignore it. And he says, you make yourself as, in Yiddish, there's an expression, as if you don't know. You don't hear. I hear Urim Shanaf Lulay. The Asira Midaita, you remove them immediately away from your mind. Now, how do you do that? How do you get rid of foreign thoughts? So we already discussed it before. Think a good thought. You can't think two things at the same time. An evil thought falls into your head. There's only one way of getting rid of it. By thinking a good thought. You think a good thought, you immediately get rid of the evil thought. The Yosef, not the Yosef Emetz, and you should add power, the Koach Kavanah, say with the Koach of Kavanah. Just positively think more good things. So he said, what happens if I can't? I try getting rid of it, but they keep coming back. What should you do? They really bother you. So what do you do if a guy feels he can't overcome them? He can't overcome these difficulties. What should he do? He says another eitzah. As a yashpil nafshel Hashem, he should lower himself with great humility to Hashem. You can't verbally say it, but you should beg Hashem in your mind, l'rachim olav, to have pity on him, v'rachim of amerubim, with Hashem's infinite level of mercy, k'rachim of abanim, like the mercy of a father to a child. What happens if you try and it doesn't go? If you try and it doesn't go, so what do? So we have the same thing in davening. The whole purpose of davening is to transform the nefesh habamis to kedusha. So you have Psukkah de Zimra, the meditation, how great God is, that even the nefesh habamis can understand. Then we learned in the second part of davening, you speak about the angels. Why do you speak about the angels? It says in Chassidus and Kabbalah, the source of the animal soul is from the sediment, the junk of the angel. So then you tell the nefesh habamis, listen, kid, your own source of angels, where you come from, they're screaming Kaddish, 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 and Baruch, that Hashem's holy. What happens if that doesn't work? So in the paragraph before Shema, we say, Avinu av harachaman rachem na aleinu. What do we say? Avinu, our father, of harachaman, the father of mercy, meaning the source of mercy. Hamerachem, who is merciful. Rachem na aleinu, have mercy on us. Help me. I need help. When a Jew comes to Hashem and says, help, Hashem helps him. He's a father. When a child comes to a father, for real, not the crying wolf, When a child comes to a father and says, help, a normal father will help him. If a Jew tries to get rid of the foreign thoughts and it doesn't go, he comes to Hashem and says, Hashem, help me. I need help. That come because we come from Hashem's mind, like Dr. Rabbi says in the second parak of Tanya. That's why we're Hashem's children. The kochan, so Yerachem Hashem al nafshei, Hashem will have pity on his soul. The soul that comes forth from Hashem, it's a part of Hashem Mamish, to save him from the turbulent waters of the Nefesh Habamis. And Hashem will do it for his own sake. Because we're a part of Hashem. In other words, Hashem will help us out because he's helping himself out. Our neshama is a part of Hashem. If our neshama is a part of Hashem, then Hashem needs to do it for his own sake. Not only for us. We're telling Hashem, we are your children, we are your extension. We are part of you. We're trying. It's not that we're not trying and say, okay, you do it. We're trying the best we can. And we still need help. Then we say, Hashem, help, and Hashem will help. Because he's really helping himself. By Chassidim, they used to say, when a chassid comes to a Rebbe, and they really need help, when the chassid really means it, the Rebbe will help. It's when we don't mean it, you're not a vessel, so then they don't, you have no, they can give you, but what you have nothing to hold on to. If you don't plant the field, rain is not going to be a brach. So the Rebbe is saying over here two things. Number one, you should know you're davening great. Number two, Hashem trusts you that you can overcome the Shabbamis and all those goyim disturbing your davening. And if that doesn't work, have mercy upon yourself. Daven, have bittul, make yourself a vessel for God's bracha. Tell Hashem, Hashem, help. I did everything I could. I tried my best. Help. And he says, you know what? Hashem will help you because he's really helping himself. So this again is an unbelievable paradox the way the Alter Rebbe brings out that a Jew should never be upset about anything. Because even when things look bad, it's really good. Because Hashem is doing it to make you do better. Okay, everybody have a good Shabbos, a meaningful, easy fast and Tisha B'Av. And Mitzvah Shem Monday, we will see you again with Parsha. Until then, Hashem should help us. We shouldn't have to fast. Mashiach will come, and we won't have to fast. We'll have a Beis Hamikdash.